Okay, welcome back to another episode here of our fantasy booking. I know it's been quite a while since the last time I've made one of these, but I think this one might be worthy of the wait. This is one of the more highly requested videos that people have really asked me to make, so why not just jump right into it? It's Kenny Omega debuting in WWE. So, if I was to book this in a real world setting, I wouldn't have him debut in WWE. He's pretty much the anti-WWE personality in everything he does. From his fighting style to his character, everything about him just screams anti-WWE. So, it was kinda difficult for me to write this story. However, I think what I did actually plays off of that quite a bit. But since this is in a fantasy booking setting, in a fantasy world, other universe, whatever, I want to change just two things. First off, in this universe, AEW doesn't exist, or at least Kenny Omega has nothing to do with AEW. Obviously, I don't want that whole part of him kind of to interfere with this thing, because I feel like in his path of glory, it should be either AEW or WWE, and since this is Kenny Omega going into WWE, we're sticking with this one. And secondly, and this will make more sense later as opposed to me just saying this right now, Roman Reigns does not defeat The Undertaker at WrestleMania 33. For one, Roman didn't really gain anything from it, so what's the point of even having Roman Reigns defeat The Undertaker? He literally came out the next night and people were screaming, "Fuck you, Roman," at him. If that doesn't scream biggest heel on your roster, I don't know what does. Also, The Undertaker not losing to Roman plays off into the story later on. Instead, what I would have is Roman Reigns losing the match against The Undertaker. So, because of this loss, he would get humbleized by this loss of the dead man, and he starts to doubt himself, like a normal freaking person, instead of the juggernaut that Roman Reigns was booked as. Okay, those are my two caveats, so let's jump right into the booking. So when it comes to debuting such a massive star, literally the biggest star outside of WWE, where exactly do we have him debut? Well, at the biggest show of the year, of course, WrestleMania. So in this timeline at WrestleMania 34, do you remember everything that happened between John Cena and The Undertaker, where John Cena called out The Undertaker if The Undertaker answered last possible second, all that stuff? Yeah, that still happens in this universe. However, the night after, instead of John Cena just going home like a little bitch, that felt a little mean. Am I gonna redo that line? Nah, screw it, we're gonna keep it in. John Cena the next night states that he wants a rematch with The Undertaker. He says that he wasn't ready for the match. He was even literally drinking at ringside. Clearly, he has the advantage to say, hey, we could have a proper match now if you really wanted to. But instead, The Undertaker came out last minute and Cena demands a match, stating, "You don't deserve your legendary status if you cannot face me in a fair one-on-one match." So as Cena is talking shit about The Undertaker, saying that he doesn't deserve to be such a legend if you won't respect him enough to give him a match, the lights, of course, go out. Of course, the big gong, the 30-minute entrance, The Undertaker walks down to the ring on Monday Night Raw. As The Undertaker and John Cena just stare down each other in the middle of the ring, the crowd gets more and more eager with anticipation. Hopefully, they get more and more eager with anticipation. And then you just see John Cena mouth the words WrestleMania 35. He doesn't even say it into the microphone, he just mouths it. And The Undertaker nods, and of course the crowd's like, "Oh my god, we're gonna get the rematch, Cena and Taker. Awesome." So, John Cena versus The Undertaker, that's the match set for the next WrestleMania, quite similarly to how The Rock and John Cena had their match set up for the following year. But what does John Cena do in the meantime? Of course, Undertaker goes off. Hopefully, he trains and heals up and doesn't look horrible next time. Anyways, while Undertaker does that, John Cena goes on a tear in WWE. Now, I know that might sound a little weird, but hear me out. He keeps hyping up this match against The Undertaker, challenging everybody that Taker has fought, well, at least that's in the company, at WrestleMania. So, Cena, over the course of the next 11 months, is fighting everybody that Taker has fought against at WrestleMania that's still in the company. He goes off and defeats Randy Orton, Kane, Triple H, Big Show, Bray Wyatt, Roman Reigns, Shane McMahon, and then at the end of it all, Brock Lesnar. So John Cena has defeated all of the past foes of The Undertaker. The crowd is set and ready. The huge build is about to pay off. It's John Cena, the man who defined how to be a superstar, and The Undertaker, the man who defined how to be a legend. John Cena makes his entrance as normal, you know, do, all that stuff. Then, of course, the lights go out. We haven't seen The Undertaker this entire time. The gong hits. The crowd erupts for about a minute or two. Nothing happens. The lights eventually come back up. Nothing happens. John Cena looks confused. Everybody starts to worry, oh my god, what happened to Undertaker backstage? Something feels off. Hopefully Michael Cole isn't screaming into the microphone saying, hey, something feels weird. What could be happening? Yeah, don't do that, Michael Cole. Just be silent. Everybody is just silent. They're confused. But then new music starts to play. New music that no one has ever really heard of before. Quite like AJ Styles when he entered the Royal Rumble in his debut, you know, everybody was kind of confused for a few seconds, like, what's happening? Who is this? This is new entrance music. What's going on? So this new music is playing, and then all of a sudden on the Titantron, Kenny Omega. He comes out onto the stage of WrestleMania 35. The Undertaker apparently nowhere to be seen. And John Cena's confused. The crowd, again, knowing who Kenny Omega is, hopefully erupting. Because they're like, oh my god, it's Kenny Omega in WWE. So he comes out on the stage, he stares down at the crowd, takes it all in. He walks down to the ring, and then John Cena and Kenny Omega lock eyes for the first time. No words are said before Kenny Omega kicks him in the knee, dropping John Cena down to his knees. V-trigger. Boom. Right there. Top star of John Cena getting knocked down by the new top star of Kenny Omega. Now, would this close the show? Sure, I think that would be a bold move to have Kenny Omega's debut close the show. I don't know how many of casual fans know exactly who Kenny Omega is. But if you want to be bold, make a top star right there, end the show. Kenny Omega, stay at the top, John Cena. Cena versus Taker doesn't happen. It's Kenny Omega taking over. The next night on Raw, maybe opening the show, maybe the main event segment. I don't know, I wrote down the main event segment. John Cena comes out, he calls out Kenny Omega. John Cena says, I know who you are, I know what you do, hyping up Kenny Omega. But then he says, I know who you are, but I don't know why you decided to attack me, ruining a match that everybody wanted to see, The Undertaker versus John Cena. So as John Cena is calling him out, Kenny Omega, he enters the challenge. He comes down to the ring. Kenny Omega comes out, enters the ring, and now the two men lock eyes once again, John Cena and Kenny Omega. They both stare at each other before Kenny Omega grabs the microphone and says to him, John Cena, you are everything that is wrong with this business. You come out here as a superstar. Now, you're good, but I'm the exact opposite of what you stand for. I come out here as the best bout machine because I put on the best professional wrestling matches in the world. You come out here because Hollywood just doesn't know what to do with someone like you. John Cena, clearly annoyed, offers him a match. He tells Kenny Omega, you know what, if you wanted to put on the best professional wrestling matches, then why don't you and I do it at the next pay-per-view, which in this timeline is Money in the Bank. So in the weeks before Money in the Bank, these two don't really talk to one another at all. They don't really do any big segments, you know, hold off on the animosity that is there. Instead, John Cena and Kenny Omega both have high caliber bouts, big matches. Each match going about 15 to 20 minutes, proving that they are some of the best wrestlers in the world, and that's something a lot of people tend to forget. John Cena is really good if you allow him to be really good. You know, there's that famous CM Punk versus John Cena match at Money in the Bank. CM Punk's not the only one in that match. Cena was there too. He can be really good, so why not give him a spotlight like, hey, I can be really good. I'm gonna have really good matches against people like Kevin Owens or whatever. While Kenny Omega, on the other hand, he shows off his skill and ability that maybe a lot of the casual fans don't know about. So he faces off against people like Sami Zayn or something. You know, people that he wouldn't typically fight on a pay-per-view setting if he stays in the company after this. Matches that show off their actual in-ring skill in the lead up to Money in the Bank. At Money in the Bank, John Cena and Kenny Omega put on an absolute classic. Now, this match I would give a very long time to. I wrote down 40 minutes in the script for these two men to battle. They just have high spot after high spot, which is kind of believable because Kenny Omega is known to have fought like hour-long matches, but John Cena is also Mr. Resilient, Mr. Never Gives Up, C-Nation, always kicks out. So it's believable that he can survive a 40-minute long match. You know, they hit high spot after high spot, AA after V-trigger, over and over again, the two men just trying to wear each other down. Until, in the end, Kenny Omega finally lifts up John Cena for the first one-winged angel of the match. He hits it, pins John Cena after one winged angel. Kenny Omega survives, he wins, he defeated John Cena, Mr. Indy as you could call him, defeated Mr. WWE John Cena. On the night after Money in the Bank, John Cena comes out putting over Kenny Omega saying, you know what, you beat me. You absolutely beat me. You 100% showed the world exactly who you are, Kenny Omega, and that you are the future and present of this business. And then John Cena goes off to make some movie. I don't know, he can come back if he wants to, but I assume here John Cena this would be kind of like his, I'm gonna go make a movie now, I'm gonna be gone for a few months, Kenny Omega, you take my spot, that kind of thing. But yeah, that's how I would book it. John Cena losing to Kenny Omega at Money in the Bank, and what a better way to make a star. The same thing happened with Kevin Owens, and he became Universal Champion later on because of that. If Kevin Owens seems like an absolute money star after beating John Cena, then Kenny Omega in a 40-minute long classic will absolutely make him. Also, there's a lot of paths this could take afterwards. For instance, after beating John Cena, Omega could go on to fight for the Intercontinental or United States or even WWE Champion, which, if Seth Rollins is still champion by that point, oof. Omega versus Rollins. Or even better, since in real life, Seth Rollins is fighting AJ Styles for the title, and AJ Styles wins, we could have the Omega versus Styles thing start to happen. Or, of course, if you don't really want to do that, which I could totally see WWE not wanting to do, you know, because it's not their thing, they don't want the Bullet Club? Who's that? That's not WWE. Are you talking about the club? With these jobbers? Sadly. Anyways, it could lead to, I don't know, The Undertaker at WrestleMania 36. Kenny Omega versus The Undertaker. That could happen afterwards. Or it could lead to Omega teaming up with the aforementioned club. You know, there's a lot of things you could do with Kenny Omega after this, which hopefully isn't just Kenny Omega versus Randy Orton, which is, like, it's fine, but, like, after beating John Cena, it's kind of a step down. But yeah, anyways, that's how I would have booked Kenny Omega's debut in WWE. Did you guys like it? Did you guys, you know, have differing opinions? I don't know. Let me know down in the comment section below. Of course, like this video if you guys liked it. Subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. But of course, if you have, why not hit the bell to be notified of everything we do here on the Bad Wrestling channel. I'm, of course, Dominic, and have a good day from Bad Wrestling. Bye-bye. Yo. Or should I say yo for the Kenny Omega pose?